EPA. Thank you. Um, I'm Fred. I'm the presenter, and thank you to everybody here in the room. Um, who's the one running the MC? Do we have one? A moderator? Do we have a moderator? Sir, moderator, it's 9:33, so we'll get started. Oh, I think I have this. Right, right. All right. Surprise, surprise. TEK, right? That's what it said on the front door. Welcome. So I see some familiar faces here, but first I just want to say I'm Fred. I'm from Big Valley Rancheria, Valley Pomo Indians, and thank the spirits here in San Jose and the tribes here that joined us here today. Is this being recorded? Did you start recording? Okay. And also I want to thank Tribal EPA Region 9 and Cal Recycle, Katrina's here, and also the governor of California for this opportunity to, especially for myself, to let me use my education to help the tribal community. So thank you to the governor. So I want to talk a little bit first before I get into SB 54 about the NAFP of why our logo is the goose. Let me put my clock here so I can see my timer. But see, the goose, it flies from California in the south to the north, up in the Great Plains, Canada area. So understanding that feeling of that bird of millions of years of my moving back and forth and back and forth. And that's how our nonprofit organization works from the south to the north in the Montanas and North Dakotas to the people of the Rocky Boys specifically, where our red shell, that California abalone, travels all the way to those areas, to those peoples of the Anishinaabe, Chippewa Cree, Assiniboine Cree, and many others over there. And when their story of migration, when the first settlers came, the spirits told those people to follow the red shell in the sky to the area where the animals begin to show themselves in the mountains. So the rock formations look like animals into where the water grows, or the food grows on top of the water by following the red shell in the sky. So those ones there, that is their medicine in their tradition, their culture. You'll see them burn sage in our abalone shell. But it all comes back down here to California, where we get into the storytelling of the basket. Now, see those tribes back there, they have, specifically Turtle Mountain has the white buffalo. The white buffalo was born about 4 years ago, and now recently it just gave birth to 8 more. So to many natives, that the white buffalo represents a time of change. It is a symbol. And that white buffalo, it could be understand here and told here in the basket here in California, from the diamonds in the sky to look up to the creator and to see the white buffalo here in the basket, where the white buffalo, it represents that time where some believe it's doom, and it is if you're in the plastic industry, but then beauty if you're the tribe into hemp natural fiber, making plastic replacements. So we're going to get into SB 54 now. Just quick, a little bit about myself. I'm a tribal member at the Big Valley, 44 from the Mission Roundhouse, bachelor's degree chemistry, master's degree. I was a water treatment operator in California, Hawaii, New Mexico, and then now I found myself as the CEO for the Native American Fiber Program. And I'm also the instructor for the Business Indian Ag to help tribes with their agriculture business and land back. And I'm also the rep for the state of Water Monitoring Council and the Microplastic Subcommittee. Is there any way you can expand the slide, or it's kind of, I wanted to show the video. Yeah, you just press the button, like if you scroll up, because it's like, yeah, up, up, up. No, down, down, down to show the basket. There, 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 up, up. It's like the slide is not, see, could you press play? Ah, shoot. It was a video of the basket to show, to understand. Now, the situation of the baskets, how the basket is used in the medicine. And the basket from the bear doctor now would be go into the situation and pull out the sickness, and put it into the basket. And that's what made everything heal. And that's what made the basket so beautiful. So I wanted, that was a video. That was a video, but it's okay. Whoop. No, in the PPT, sometimes you could just press play and it goes. It's okay. We got time. The bear doctor here. Don't worry. It doesn't come for you. It comes for another. And what is the sickness now in the whole situation? It's the microplastics, right? The microplastics. It's everywhere. Now, to address that issue, to address that problem, it takes TEK. TEK. So the situation now in California, very recently, Rob Bonta, the Attorney General, he's suing ExxonMobil because really why? They lied. Remember the white buffalo? Just doom. They lied. And there's the spirits telling Rob, that little angel on the shoulder, they lied. So he takes action. That's just one law, right? Now we're going to get into SB 54, where you have to make the slide more like it fits. It's not showing. Well, there's some, there you go. There you go. Keep going down. More. It's 150. There, go 125. Yeah, like that. Just leave it. So there's, in this SB 54 law, this is what it's basically asking you to do. Can you help, please, reduce, cut single-use plastic by 25%, recycle 65%, and make 100% recyclable or compostable? Can you do that now? That's what they're asking, and we will help them. Now, there's a timeline at it too, where you have to hit recycling dates or compostable dates at a certain date. There's a lot of dates there, but if you go to the Cal Recycle website, you will see that. This is all from their website, and I'm just explaining it here to you, so thank you for allowing me that. But there's all the dates, and go look of what needs to be done at that timeline and try and work within it. Try and work within it, because there's going to be a lot of grant opportunities. Now, if you go to the website and you're wondering, what is recyclable? What is compostable? What is this made out of? Everything that is made out is produced, made a widget. There it explains what it's made out of in that covered materials categories. And it will tell you, is it recyclable? Yes or no? What is it made out of? Et cetera, et cetera. So go there. If you want to understand, like, what is this made out of? Covered materials list. Think that is the information there. Now I want to talk about the NAFP. We fit into that covered materials. And thank you to the state of California for really supporting the cannabis, because that is what these tribes now are into. And up in the northern regions, they're into hemp. So we formed a nonprofit organization where there are tribal leaders, just like yourselves, directors, just like yourselves. We came together to form a nonprofit to business strategize. What shall we do with the hemp? And we found a lot of good opportunities in plastic replacements and working with Fortune 500 companies. So they're from Rodney in the red. He's from Fort Peck, Montana. He has over 100 acres in all kind of land and buildings to do something. And Jason, he's from Rocky Boy, Montana, where the red shell in the sky, their belief system. And then we have right below Jason, Sam from North Dakota, where the white buffalo is born. And that is my wife, Ade, who works for Findy, our attorney. Um, so our nonprofit, we have a YouTube channel. Visit our YouTube. We're looking for people who could present on their natural fibers and other traditional fibers and just traditional things, talk story, and we'll pay you $500. And through our ventures, we have be able to create economies now and models of economic opportunities using what is called now the buffalo hemp strategy. Sometimes you'll see it now called the green buffalo. And that is it there, where the buffalo now, instead of the cattle, which cattle is not our culture, it's colonialized. The buffalo is, however, and instead of soybeans, they're using the hemp. So using that buffalo hemp agriculture model, they're able to raise millions of dollars, USDA dollars, to study the carbon and understanding the natural fiber manufacturing process. And then the food, the seeds that grow on top, the buds, that is the food for the tribes. And here, we were doing research here with these Fortune 500 companies, and some of them were very, very good. And some of them, they're really stuck in a plastic situation, so they're looking for change because they must continue to produce a profit for the Fortune 500. Therefore, what is the replacement to plastic? It was hemp. So we're engaged in hemp research and development to determine what is the best use of the hemp. And after 4 years of research, we've determined it, and the tribe, the North Dakota tribe, has connected with the Fortune 500 company, determining more manufacturing uses of their hemp. So we know all of those ones there. However, during a time of change, again, where plastic is being banned, these Fortune 500s now will shift. They must shift to a different program. Where do they go now? They go right here to the Circular Action Alliance. According to SB 54, the producer must join the Circular Action Alliance and pay a membership fee. And there's the states that are involved with SB 54, similar functions. Whoops. Similar function. The function is CAA is the Producer Responsibility Organization for Paper and Packaging in the United States. So those tribes there looking into that hemp paper, hemp products, natural fiber, here is our focus now with these working with this organization where the producer must join here. So here's from the CalRecycle website, producers play a strategic role in building a truly circular economy. And again, a visualization of what must be created and what must be used here in our everyday lives to replace plastics. So again, those tribes with our nonprofit are focusing. That is our focus. So here a little bit, starting in 2027 for the disadvantaged low-income rural communities, the SB 54, this law shifts plastic pollution burden from consumers to producers by raising $5 billion from industry members over 10 years. This will cut plastic pollution and support disadvantaged, low-income, and rural communities most hurt by the impacts of plastic waste. That's you, tribe. That's you. And there's our basket there that on the CalRecycle website. Thank you, Katrina. That is us there. So we're going to talk about an approach now, but let's break it down. Of the $5 billion, right, from all those producers I showed you, $5 billion from them. Now, the state has already decided it's called the statute. And here it is, where I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry, and we talked about the periodic table, chemical bonds, and all kind of reactions, but we never talked the statute. But then here I have an MBA, where they always told us the best way to start a business is to follow the law. And now when I got here to the SB 54, it was a learning curve for me too. Like, what does this word statute mean? It's basically the law where it breaks down and it tells you already how it will go. So here in this SB 54, how the money will be spent, it's in the statute right there on that website. And I'll tell you about it here. Well, 40% for the purpose to monitor and reduce the environmental impacts of plastic on terrestrial, aquatic, and marine life and human health, including to restore, recover, and protect the natural environment. 60% to monitor and reduce the historical, current environmental justice and public health impacts of plastic, including to mitigate the historical and current impact of plastic on disadvantaged. So there's going to be some funding. Whoops. There's going to be a lot of funding, and it's going to be over $500 million for 10 years and a 60-40 breakdown, just like that. So you'll have to start thinking just like that, like how to approach that funding. And I'll tell you our approach. So here, I break it down into the numbers. It really gets complicated if you're not really into the numbers, but just big numbers. See that? Hundreds of millions of dollars. And 60%, we'll start there. 60% will go to Strategic Growth Council, California Environmental Protection Agency, and Department of Justice. 40% will go to Fish and Wildlife, Wildlife Conservation Board, State Coastal Conservancy, California Coast Commission, Ocean Protection Council, Department of Parks and Rec, Natural Resources Agency, and California EPA. They're going to get a lot of money there. So those programs or those departments, position yourself where you know someone, because they still need help. And we're going to get in that, how to help them. But a lot. So get ready. It's not all clean, cut, and dry just yet, but it's trickling. It's that trickle effect. And that's what we're here for, tribe, to talk about that. Me to tell you in a business planning way. So again, like I said, start thinking of plastic pollution mitigation. And I got those baskets right here too. If you want to come take a look, I got them right here. Join the monthly SB 54 meeting. We got one tomorrow at 10 a.m. You could listen. We're going to be talking about how to reimburse local governments for functions of SB 54. That's you, tribe. How to reimburse you to do SB 54 functions. So please join our meeting. And then we have to do an NAFP Zoom meeting, and then a tribal-led solution as a nonprofit organization to help all the tribes to create the basket of plenty. So here, the approach. Step back 20,000 years to understand Mother Earth, to feel everything, all to have for our people. Pre-colonialization, the Pomos counted shell money into the hundreds of millions, or money on the basket. Many tribes have EPA and solid waste departments, but always have lacked funding. Current funding opportunities include the GAP grant and Cal Recycle grants to hunt for wild foods and medicine, and a people to look after. That's what we pray for, the Pomos in our roundhouse. So we look into the sky to see what other models, to create a model of how to go about it. And the endowment model is here, very simple, which is used many times, where the state and others work with a nonprofit organization to perform a function. That function is to receive funding, to put it in a bank account that collects the interest, and then that interest, and then given to you, all of you tribes. And they're in the form of plastic pollution mitigation grants, EPA funding, and culture. Of course, always for culture, there's funding, but people are needed to manage that. People are needed to manage that. So the NAFP is seeking advisory board members of how to, if there is funding, to manage, because it's up to you to manage that, but under a nonprofit. So that is the first approach. The second approach, I'm going over the approaches of how to position yourself for that funding. So here, approach number two. I'm working with Stanford University, Medical School, School of Business, and now the plastic pollution health issues, right, where a lot of the money is going to be coming from. hmm That positioning now, being with them. Hi, Stanford, I'm right there with them. But then also working with your tribal health, because all of you have a tribal health, right? So I put a picture of our director, the bald guy. He's been with us for over 20 years. I love him. His name is Ernesto. We all love him. He really knows how to just bring it in. Bring it in. When there's opportunities for grants like that, boom, he can do it. He's the one. He's the one. He's very nice. And the other day I was in his office and we were talking. I showed him all the baskets. He offered me 200,000. I couldn't believe it. Wow. But that's Pomo basketry. Dreams do come true. Big things like that too. So I'm putting it all together to approach number one or number two. Number three approach here. What needs to be completed is the needs assessment. Now I'm going to ask you, please, can everyone take out their phones? Because we're going to do the needs assessment because it's so important. Because you know what we're talking about at our meeting, where how the needs assessment, the disadvantaged, they weren't informed, they weren't included. So we're going to show them. And it only takes 5 minutes of your time. So go to Google, type in Cal Recycle SB54, and you'll see it on your phone. I'll do it with you. And then you'll see, if you scroll down just a little bit on the homepage of the Google, you'll see that it shows needs assessment. Click that needs assessment. There's everyone there. I see a nod, like everyone's at the needs assessment page. Now just take a few minutes now to fill it out. 5 minutes, because I know the tribes, they just weren't informed. And so I'm trying to do my volunteer job for the state to tell these tribes, like, hey, they filled out the needs assessment right here, right now, for 5 minutes. And if you can, I know what you need. Tell me you need funding to do already what you're doing. You need the NAFP. We need you, tribe, to tell them. 5 minutes. I'll stop it at 10 o'clock or just look at your heads. Yes. Oh, yeah. Let's go to the next. Yeah. This is what it looks like on your phone. You guys at that page on your phone? Mm-hmm. That's how it should look. I'm going to keep scrolling down like how he was saying. Now, right there at the very bottom, where there was some fields where you just had to put your name, your last name, and your email. And then you scroll down, and there's a comment. Insert your comment in that little field box. Yeah. Contact information. What is your name, sir? Thank you, Roger, from Cali, PA. Thank you, Roger. That means a lot to me. But we're filling out the needs assessment, and then we're going to shock them too. They're going to be like, whoa, we got all these tribal responses at once. Yeah, we will. So I'll give you a few more minutes.
Do you know if this fund will pay for microplastics testing?
The NAFP fund is the type of money where it will be very flexible to do what's needed to be done in a time when there is no money for that. Like, where do I get the money for something like that? Oh, right here. But it is budgeted, cycled every year, and rotated, just like a normal grant. But the Plastic Pollution Mitigation Fund for SB 54, um, I don't want to be too detailed, but the way I understand that information like that, where you, according to Circular Action Alliance, to perform a function of SB 54, you are eligible as a tribal government for a reimbursement. Come to our meeting tomorrow. We're going to be talking more about that too, about local government reimbursements. What does that mean? And they don't know yet. Um, okay, it's 10 o'clock. I gave you 5 minutes to work to do the most impactful thing right now, is to get their attention all at once as a group. So thank you. Let's just wrap it up real quick, and then we'll go on to the next one, okay? Because I only got like 10 more minutes. But here, I wish it was the video. I have my suit. When I prepared that suit, there was a big earthquake that night. I didn't hunt that bear neither. It was hit by a car. And I had the dream already that I was wearing my camo and I was hunting. But then I looked at myself and I had fur on. I was like, what? And I was standing right in front of a microphone too, saying all kind of things. But I knew and I was like in a World War II setting, or World War I in the trenches, all that barbed wire and like how they show on the video. And I was like, whoa, what am I doing in a dream like this, you know? And then that night, that same day, there was a call where the suit, they hit the bear up there in, where's that? Black Bart, up in that area, Sherwood. And I was like, oh my, nobody wanted to touch it too. But then I knew too, I couldn't deny. I know what it meant. And besides, I was the only one who knew how to skin it because I was a hunter. No one else knew. So I said, here it is. I can't deny it. So then I just accepted it. And on the video too, it showed when I was smoking it, the smoke with the spirits, and then the earthquake too. It just symbolized. And when I was skinning it there, up there at Coyote Valley, that same night too, another huge earthquake. There was 2 earthquakes. The day I skinned it at Coyote Valley, and then the night I smoked it, another huge earthquake. Just understanding Mother Earth. I wanted to show that video, but you have to now start thinking of a zero waste strategy. That terminology now, what does that mean to you? It's real simple if you just follow SB 54. It will help you. So part of that too, stop eating out, all the takeout containers, right? Can you ban single use at your tribal community? Could you take that initiative? Plastic reduction, changing the food habits, eating bags of chips and just sodas and bottled water. Can you stop drinking bottled water? And education outreach of more of how can you be reimbursed for stop drinking bottled water? Maybe make a basket, just saying. And reusability and natural fibers. But then one day too, what's going to happen with the plastic pollution, as it gets affected more into the health, there'll be a federal department just to study. And we'll be there, tribe. We'll be there with them. So last slide, just to tell you about the meeting tomorrow. Please come. You filled out the needs assessment. Can you join on Zoom and tell them too about your situation? So that's what's going to happen tomorrow. And there's another one on November 1st too. Come, please. If you're just sitting at your desk at work, join in our Zoom. And advisory board member, NAFP, strategic traditional ecological knowledge approach from the spirits down to the earth, back up. hmm We need you. So that's all I have to say. And that's about ready, end of my time. Oh, 15 minutes left? Good. Then we have some time for questions. Can we get that mic ready, sir? If there's any questions. If you have a question, can you raise your hand? There's one. And there's another.
Going back to the hemp. Oh, my name is Delbert Altohol. I'm from White Mountain Apache Tribe. Going back to the hemp farm. How big of an area do you need to make enough fibers to make these paper products?
Well, it depends what you're trying to do. Are you trying to work with the Fortune 500? Or are you trying to just work in your own little community and build a house, build a structure? It all depends what you're trying to do. You'll need at least minimum, again, what you're trying to do, a few acres, right, to a few thousand acres. Now, those tribes like back east in Montana, Fort Peck, they have 1 million acres. So, in their Fortune 500, that's their approach. So, it all depends on your land size, and what you're trying to accomplish. But that was a good question. And you were from White Mountain, Arizona. Arizona. Thank you, White Mountain, Arizona. Because farming is very interested over there, those tribes out there. Yeah, it takes a lot of infrastructure and funding to get started too. And that's what NAFP did. It raised a lot of that initial funding to help those tribes get into those positions like that. I raised almost $1 million for our nonprofit and give it all right back to those tribes to get them into where they need to be. So we have another question. Sorry, Sarah.
Hey, Fred, great presentation. I'm wondering about whether you think the way forward is through, in using natural fibers and building things from natural fibers is a light manufacturing, or do you see it more as still very manual, hands-on with like hiring a lot of people and doing it more by hand rather than the light manufacturing, or do you see maybe a combination of both?
That's a very good question. Farming is difficult, right? You're going to need some laborers at that. But there are equipment purchases too, but it's into the millions of dollars. It's it's a huge trade-off. Um, what is their approach at this moment? Of course, everyone's idea is to grow a home, grow your own hemp and build your own home with it. It's possible. Some tribes in the Sioux community are really doing it. And that's where it really takes for hemp and tribal communities, because it's a driven process to try to get individual farmer to go out and do a hemp project. They're individual farmer. It's too hard. With a community base now, where you have community members, free labor, sweat equity, a lot of times on the res, people just volunteering to go out and harvest the hemp, process the hemp, and build a home. There is the Lower Sioux tribe, the Green Buffalo movement. That's what they're calling theirs. But in Turtle Mountain, we're calling ours the White Buffalo hemp, because up there, that's where the white buffalo was born, in Turtle Mountain. And it just about 4 years ago. And then it just had eight. And now those eight were given to all different tribes. And see, those tribes up there, they're just like tribes over here. They talk. And what do they talk about? The ham, the buffalo, working with the Fortune 500. They know where it's coming out of, Turtle Mountain. And that's just the spirit from the sky, understanding, being able to interpret of what's next and the change of Mother Earth. So that is our nonprofit. That is how we operate. So is there any more questions? Because I think I only have, what, 5 more minutes? Or we only have here. Roger.
Fred, thank you so much. Amazing presentation. Couldn't have asked for a better spokesperson for Cal Recycle on SP54 than you. So really appreciate your wisdom and your sharing and your vision. And I'm very curious to talk to you maybe later about more in depth about the buffalo hemp. But I wanted to ask you on behalf of everyone, how can we do a better job of inspiration and connecting with tribes on the future benefits for tribes by engaging with Cal Recycle, with our grants program, with the composting assessment, with SB 54, with all these initiatives. We are going to be, I'll just give a little plug, we are doing a workshop at 2 p.m. today on Cal Recycle programs, many of which I just mentioned, SB 54, a waste-free future for tribes in California, and our composting assessment, and looking at ways that we can support tribals, governments in California, regardless of their, whether it's federally recognized or state, California Native Americans as a whole. We want to be of service to all tribes in California and provide an opportunity to gain some input, insight, and really information sharing with tribes. So that'll be at 2 in the Morgan Room. And we'd love to have you, if you're available, to come. It'd be fantastic. So thank you. And then, yeah, I want to talk to you more about the buffalo cycle, the white buffalo cycle, for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Roger, for your comments and for the tribes. When I went to MBA school, we learned business. Here it's government. But really, when it comes down to it, it's just following the law. So education of understanding the law, and it's right here. This is the law. What is being asked of you if you can do that? And it's real simple. If you could just ban single-use plastic, stop drinking water from water bottles, just change your food habits, it's possible. It's very possible. And thank you again, Roger, for your comment, because at 2 o'clock, did you hear what he said? There's going to be the movement there, the zero waste strategy. What does that mean? So please come and say something. Talk. Go there, Roger and Katrina. We'll be with you. So there's one more question in the back. Kendall. Hello, Kendall.
How's it going, Fred? It's Kendall Noah from Owens Valley Indian Water Commission. Let me see if I can articulate this, how I've been thinking about it. When we talk about the Packaging Producer Responsibility Act, one of the key things that I think about is like inflation. If we're holding these producers accountable, then usually it's the consumers who are paying the high cost of them having to switch over to these biodegradable kind of like plastics or, things that would, I guess, be more healthier for the environment. And so I'm just wondering, is like any of this going to be subsidized to the producer, or like is it going to be just this consequences that happen to like the price of meat and things going up, where we see in the fast food industry, like the prices of food there is really, really going up, and people are just staying home. I guess that's kind of my question, is the economics of it all.
Now, Kendall, I've known you for a long time. And I know you'd ask tough questions like that too, especially in business. But Kendall, Fred, I'm just the messenger. I'm just the messenger. I don't know too much, but just what's this and what I showed you in our approach, the NAFP. So your question is good, and that's why you came to this meeting. Can you come to other meetings at SB 54 and ask them like that too? Because, your comments really mean a lot. And we need you over there.
Yeah, and I just think about, tribes that come from rural areas like us. We're from Owens Valley, and like we already pay high cost for groceries and everything else in our area because everything has to be trucked in. And so that was the reason for my question as well.
Yeah, you're right, Kendall. You're right. And again, these ones here, Circular Action Alliance, pay attention to those ones too, because they said local governments will be reimbursed for SB 54 functions. You are local government. You are tribal government, Kendall. I'll tell you more when there's more, but right now that's all there is to say about that. Roger?
You want me to talk? I'll just say, Kendall, you're, right on with a lot of the policies in California. When we think about shifting to things that are more environmentally friendly, it's more costly. The intent of an Extended Producer Responsibility Act or a policy is really to shift the responsibility to the producer. How does that trickle down to the consumer is what you're asking, essentially. What I'd like to just for me, the way that I see this is it's a massive shift, right? Like it's a shift to the point where it's not more cost effective for them to utilize plastic packaging or styrofoam. They can start using mushrooms, for example, and there's stimulation in that economy of producing products that are more naturally friendly and making that shift away from the fossil fuels that are creating plastics. We don't think about the burden on the other side also, like all of the costs that we're actually bearing because of irresponsibility of industry, from government to go in and clean up, the illegal dumping, the toxicity, all that stuff is also a cost to us as people, as citizens, as people within the in the state of California, as tribal members, etc. We're all impacted. And I think what Fred shared about the Plastic Pollution Mitigation Fund, that to me is a huge opportunity to start thinking about what Sarah mentioned, microplastics. How are we going to mitigate microplastics? How do we get tribes involved in that work? We're still learning how to test for microplastics. We don't even know how to sample for microplastics when it comes to water, fish. The Office of Research and Development through the US EPA is working on that. And so we need to do more of that, and we need to gear that up so that when that Plastic Pollution Mitigation Fund comes out, we can do that work. We can have the tools to sample, we can have the tools to filter and all of that. And I think that this is like an initial investment that catalyzes that change that's absolutely necessary, because right now the way that our products, what we pay for our products, that cheap packaging that we're paying for, it's actually costing us more down the line, right? And so hopefully this is getting to upstream solutions and just making that shift. And then the other side, Fred talked about it, it's that business opportunity for me today at 2:00, really thinking about how do tribes get involved in this zero waste transition when we think about standing up the composting systems, the recycling systems that are necessary, the collection centers to make sure that the materials are handled properly. And then how does Cal Recycle support? I know Jenny's done a lot on zero waste with tribes through US EPA. Cal Recycle is just state of California, but trying to do more. So yeah, happy to see all you there. And Fred, thank you. Just amazing for your work, your talk, and all that you do.
Well, thank you, Katrina. Again, that was Katrina from Cal Recycle, Tribal Liaison. So again, 2:00. Okay, everyone, that's the next meeting that I hope to all see you at. So I think we're done now, right? Yeah. If there's no more questions, is there any more? Okay, if there's none, thank you again. Or come check out some baskets if you feel like it. You could take pictures and touch them. If you feel like touching them, go right ahead. Let me see here. Here, you can have this.